Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tiger Talk. Gerard Wellbrock with you for the next 30 or so minutes as we talk some Fort Hays State basketball. Glad to have you back on the program after a little break for the Christmas and New Year's holidays, but back at it. Fort Hays State on the road this past week as they resumed MIAA play in Warrensburg, Missouri on Thursday night against Central Missouri, and then Saturday afternoon in Bolivar, Missouri against Southwest Baptist. Kind of a rough night in Warrensburg. Tigers swept by the Mules and the Jennies. They get a split on Saturday. The women win by 1. The men lose in overtime. We'll talk all about it. Men's coach Mark Johnson joins us a little bit later on in the program. Head coach Tony Hobson will be up here right after the break. The program, of course, brought to you as it is each and every Monday by Mocha's Coffee, Bakery, and Bistro. They're at 27th and Indian Trail. And by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. North Vine and Hayes, the taste that brings you back. We're going to take our first break, and women's coach Tony Hobson will join us right after the break, right here on Tiger Talk. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Some of the action from Saturday in Bolivar, Missouri. Tiger women get a split on their first 2 games of the new year, knocking off Southwest Baptist 62-61. You heard that go-ahead bucket from Emma Stroyan. Of course, week started with a loss in Warrensburg to the Jennies of Central Missouri, ranked 11th in the country, 71-51. Tiger Talk brought to you by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, where they have their great, delicious, cook-to-order food, rich and creamy frozen custard, churned fresh throughout the day. It's all at Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine and Hayes, the taste that brings you back. Tony Hobson, head women's coach, joins us now. And I guess let's talk about Central Missouri and get it out of the way. Good start, scored the first 5. Thought, hey, it's going to be a game. I know a lot of people were expecting a pretty good one, but unfortunately the wheels came off in a hurry, and that just ended up being a long night.
Well, it did, and we did get off to a good start. I think it was 5-0, then it was 8-8, and then we had a couple back-to-back plays that kind of gifted them some points and really hurt us and got them rolling. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of the quarter, you know, we just could not keep them in front of us, and they hit a bunch of shots. And you know, I thought we recovered well the second quarter. Actually cut the lead to 12 at half and had a layup to cut it to 10. But so we're down 12. I thought, okay, that's at least manageable, possible. And then the third quarter, I think we played them even, and I think it was a 12-point game going in the fourth quarter, and we just could never get over the hump. We had, I think starting the second half, we had the ball 3 or 4 times and held them without scoring, and we just could not. Yeah. We weren't good enough offensively. We didn't get enough shots to go to get back in that game. And you know, I read that that was the first time we got beat by 20 in like 130 some games. You know, I mean, we could have kept it under 20 that game if we would have, if that would have been our goal, but I didn't have any idea. So, you know, we kind of, I don't know, pull the plug is the right, but I didn't put Carly back in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game, and T, and you know, I could see we weren't going to get them, and I just wanted to save every bit of energy for that Saturday game, but. You know, they're a solid team, and you just can't spot them that many points the first quarter. They score it from a lot of different positions in a lot of different ways. Their guards are excellent. Their post players are underrated. You know, everybody has said that that's their weak spot, and they're more than adequate. They're solid players, good defensive players, and kind of give them what they need. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't want 5 people out there that need the ball all the time. So. I was a little disappointed. I didn't think we played with a lot of energy for the entirety of the game, but you know, I liked the way we bounced back and showed some grit. And any time you can win on the back end of those 4-day trips against a pretty good team, you have to applaud your kids for that.
Yeah, no doubt. Central Missouri, they have 30 field goals in the game. 13 of those came in that first quarter. They had 3 or 4 threes, and you look at the numbers after that, and they kind of got hot down the stretch to put it away. But against good teams, as you said, they're going to be difficult, especially on their home floor, to come back on. And your team did battle and certainly gave themselves a chance, but unable to make that push. But then, as you said, came back with I'm not going to say better effort, but it probably was a better effort on Saturday against Southwest Baptist. Hit a few more shots and found a way to win on the road. That's the name of the game. You don't apologize for how you win. You take the win and you go home, and your team did that.
Well, and just one more thing about the Central Missouri game, we give up 29 the first quarter, and we only give up 23 the second 2 quarters. So it wasn't like that we just packed it in. It was just like, we hung in there, and we just couldn't get a couple shots. We couldn't string anything together offensively, and as a result, we couldn't come back. But I thought going into Saturday's game, I thought the main thing is that we just weren't feeling sorry for ourselves, because you get teams sometimes they want to feel like a victim. Well, we're a long ways from home. Well, our locker room didn't have heat or lighting like on Saturday. Just things like that. So you just try to keep their attitude up and understand that that's one game, and we need to just turn around and everything will be fine if we can get out of there with a win. And I'll tell you, I thought the key defensively was, Casey Kennett had a hard matchup on Rosenbaum and held her to 1 for 10, 4 points, and that's about 18 under her average.
Yeah.
And anytime you can do that, I think you have a good chance to beat them.
Yeah, no doubt. Led the conference in scoring coming into that game, and finishes it with 4 points on the day. And Casey really did a good job. And then offensively, Tatiana Leggett, 18 points, 9 boards, 3 more assists. 6 of 8 from the free throw line. Just a really active game, and then had the assist to Emma Stroyan, which proved to be the game-winning basket there down the stretch. She really played well. And not that she's been playing poor, but that looked more like the Tatiana Leggett we've become used to seeing.
Well, it sure does, and it's good I like that one a lot better. The thing about her is she's always pretty efficient. I mean, she can score 18, 20 points and only, she is 6 for 12. That's about the lowest percentage she's ever going to shoot, and that's still a good percentage, and she's been really effective from the line this year. But the fourth quarter, she got the kind of silly foul in the third, so I had to set her a little bit, so she didn't get that fourth right away. And so she came in to start the fourth quarter, and we ran a couple sets that we hadn't ran all game, and basically it's kind of isolating her from the elbow. And she made, I think, the first time she got fouled and hit her free throws, and then the next time she had a dead layup, and then the next time she made a good pass for a wide open 3 for Laney that she didn't hit, but she just made stuff happen. And like she had a great pass there to Emma. So T came up big that game, and offensively we needed a little boost because defensively we held them to 61 points at home. I thought that was adequate. We just have to be more efficient offensively.
Yeah, and you mentioned T. I think she scored 8 of her 18 in the fourth quarter, 6 of your first 6 in that quarter to kind of get you the lead, and you're able to maintain it. But that was a big win for a lot of reasons. Obviously, standings get you back to 500, but just think for the psyche of this team as well to go in a difficult place to play. Although we say that, you had pretty good success in that building here recently, but that's a tough place to play against a pretty good team. That was a good win to escape there with.
Well, it is, and they're really good offensively. I mean, they run the pick and roll about as good as anybody, and Richardson's a good player, and she had a good night on us. But again, that was just a tough matchup because she's more of a wing player, but she plays in the post, so it's a tough matchup. And we stared that one down, and luckily got out of there with a win. And it was right down to the end. They had a shot, we got a rebound, we lost the rebound. They got another shot, and we got another rebound, and then it was finally over. One play that kind of sticks out in my head is that play towards the end of the third quarter, when Carly's bringing it up, late clock, and she's going to have to just shoot it from half court. And their bench was actually yelling Fowler because they had a foul to give. And probably what's she going to make 1 out of 30 from there, if that. And they actually grabbed her, and Carly saw her coming and made the motion to shoot, and just kind of suckered them into that.
Yeah.
And not only got the 3 shots, but it was an intentional foul. We got the ball back. It didn't mean anything because of the time, but just that was a key play, and she made 2 out of the 3. 2 points is pretty important when you win by 1.
I was going to say, exactly.
But that was just a really heads-up play by Carly.
Well, the Tigers get the win, 62-61. Now they're off. I say off. They'll practice, but they don't play until Saturday when they bring in the Lopers of Nebraska Kearney. And we'll talk about that right after the break. Tiger Talk brought to you by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers and Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro. You can start your day off with their piping hot cup of coffee, breakfast, and more. They've got a meal or something for every meal at Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro. Take advantage of the convenient drive-thru on your way to work. They're at 27th and Indian Trail, Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro. We will take a break. More with Coach Hobson when we return right here on Tiger Talk.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayespost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.
And welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Wellbrock, head women's coach Tony Hobson. That was the final sequence there. As we heard Coach talk last segment, a couple of big rebounds down the stretch from Tatiana. And the Tigers hold on for the 1-point win, getting back to 500, 3-3 in the conference, 12-3 overall. Now welcome in Nebraska Kearney on Saturday. And we'll talk about the Lopers in a little bit. Want to ask you about Lainey Page. A lot of people have been asking about her, the K-State transfer. Played on the 30th in your non-conference game. Great debut, scored 14, and then the 2 games obviously on the road. She got a little more extended playing time, it looked like, on Saturday in Bolivar, and it feels like she's still trying to figure things out a little bit and find her role, but you can obviously tell a great talent's going to help this team. I guess your assessment of her play so far, and do you feel like she's getting a little bit more comfortable each and every time out there?
Well, I think so. I mean, I could see a marked difference between Thursday and Saturday. I thought Thursday she pressed a lot and was, the book on her, they're gonna try to pressure her because on the perimeter, because she's a bigger wing player, and if you let her catch in certain areas, she's probably going to have a good chance to score. So I thought she struggled and tried to probably force some things to happen on Thursday, and I thought then Saturday, going into Saturday, I thought she kind of got more in the flow and made, she made some big plays, had 4 or 5 blocks, all of them on the perimeter except for 1. So I thought she kind of settled in, and the thing about bringing somebody in the semester is you have to have, they have to be kind of a special kid and a person that the other kids like and respect, and then the kids that you have already on the team that have been playing and have went through a semester, they kind of have to be special too. I mean, it has to go both ways. And the main thing is that we're trying to do is to get her in the mix without affecting or in a negative way the other players. And I think it's an ongoing process, but I think it's getting better, and she's understanding where we need her and when to try to get a shot and when not to. And the other thing is, just on my part, is I haven't seen her play that much in my lifetime. I'm just figuring out how we can use her, and so I think that's an ongoing process, and I think I'll get that eventually. I've been through it before a few times, but it's just it goes a lot of different ways. But I think it's going to give us another good shooter, another offensive weapon, and she's still making a big adjustment defensively because primarily played zone at Kansas State, and we primarily play man, and it's a lot of different concepts and ways of doing things.
Well, we'll see her progression throughout the year and get another chance to see that on Saturday when Nebraska Kearney comes to town. And it's always fun when the Tigers and Lopers hook up, but they're having a nice season, a good team. I had a chance to see them when they were in Hayes for the Classic earlier this year, and just look at their games they played this year. They've been right there with everybody. Should be a good test and a fun game on Saturday.
Well, I think it will be. And I think what really jump-started their season a little bit was they won, they won 3 overtime games against solid teams. They beat Newman in overtime, they beat Pitt in overtime, they beat Southern in overtime. And, if those all go the other way, then it gets discouraging. But when you win them, then there's a level of excitement, and I think that's kind of carried them through. And a lot of times the difference between being like they are with just 3 losses or with 7 or 8 losses, being 500 is just winning a few of those tight ones. So they're improved, and they've got good guards. They've got a couple of the better guards in the conference that can really score it. We've had since Carey's been up there, we've had really close games with them. We've been lucky enough to win all 4 of them, but they've all been tight. We haven't got away from any of them. So I imagine it'll be kind of the same type of game.
Yep, should be a lot of fun. We certainly look forward to it on Saturday. Coach, we appreciate the time as always. Have a great week of practice, and we'll see you Saturday afternoon at the Coliseum.
Okay, thanks, Gerard.
That's head coach Tony Hobson of the Fort Hays State women. Again, that'll be a 2 o'clock tip for the Tigers and the Lopers on Saturday. Tiger Talk brought to you by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. Fresh, delicious, cooked-to-order double steak burgers, crispy shoestring fries, seasoned with Freddy's famous seasoning. And you can finish it all off with their signature Turtle Sundae, made with their fresh and creamy frozen custard. They're on North Vine and Hayes. Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, the taste that brings you back. We'll take a break. When we return, men's coach Mark Johnson will join us. We'll talk to the men's coach next, right here on Tiger Talk.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here.
It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM.
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
And welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Wellbrock joined now by head men's coach Mark Johnson. You heard some of the action from Saturday. The Tigers losing a tough overtime game in Bolivar, the Southwest Baptist. And Coach, kind of a rough, I guess, start to the new year for your squad. On the road, you knew it was going to be difficult in Warrensburg against Central Missouri. Very good team. And then Southwest Baptist on Saturday. And I guess we'll start it on Thursday. I just did not get off to a good start. And you kind of said it well after the game. They played maybe about as well as they have. And you certainly, I'm not going to say it's the worst you played, but it was right up there. And that was a bad combination on the road.
No, it was. I mean, give them credit. I thought they played really well. They defensively, they were really focused. They were physical. Made it really hard on us. Made it hard on Hadley to score. And then, offensively they played well. They shot the ball well. They shot it really. You look at the final stats from the 3-point line. They didn't shoot it as well as you thought, but they shot it so well the first 10 minutes of the game that allowed them to get the lead. And we just weren't where we needed to be able to go on the road and beat Central Missouri. You can't give a half effort or a half concentration. I mean, you got to be all the way locked in, playing really hard, being really focused and tough, and we just didn't quite have it. And that's what happens. You have one team playing at a high level and another team not. You're playing at a low level. It can get away from you in a hurry, and it did, and we did not play very well. It was not a very good performance.
Made a little run there at the very end to make the score look a little bit better. Were you happier with your second half effort and how your team responded halftime?
I mean, I think, sure, we did better, but I think sometimes those are hollow victories, when a lot of times the other team's not, it's just natural. They're up big at halftime. It's hard for them to come out the second half and give that same, one thing as well as they play, I think it's hard to play that good for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can play at that level for 40 minutes, or very few times can you. So, but yeah, we did better the second half, but I mean, the game was already over by that time at halftime, and just disappointed. And that this team, that hasn't happened to this team very often. You look at all of our games, even our losses have been close. Even Washburn, we struggled mightily, but we found a way to hang around and give ourselves a chance or keep it close. This was the first time where we weren't to the level you have to be successful.
One of the bright spots was the play of your freshman Jared Vitztum. Peyton Stevens landed on a foot, rolled his ankle right before halftime, and he was the only double figure for you. Scored 10, and then played a lot of minutes because of Peyton's injury on Saturday, and he had a really good back-to-back games this week.
Yeah, I was happy for him. I thought he did well. I think the thing that I liked the most was rebounding. I think he ended up averaging around 5 rebounds a game for those two trips, which we need help rebounding. We don't rebound the ball very well at times, and the more guys we can get a rebound is definitely beneficial for us. But yeah, I thought he played well, especially just kind of getting thrown out there. He didn't look nervous. Even sometimes when you get thrown out in the middle of the game, you don't have time to be nervous and kind of not have confidence. But what I liked was Saturday, he went out there and knew he was going to play, and there was no panic in him. There was no lack of confidence. He played aggressive, he played hard, and tried to do the right things for us.
That's certainly a bright spot for the future. Fort Hays State in Bolivar Saturday, taking on Southwest Baptist. And I know you kind of challenged your team after the game against Central Missouri and really responded, played hard, really did everything you could ask for except shoot the ball very well, and that was kind of the problem.
Yeah, no question. I thought, SBU's a high-scoring offense. You look at their 3 points made per game, their 3-point percentage. I think they're averaging up in the 80s. It's always been a hard place for us to try to guard and play defense at their place. We haven't been able to play man-to-man very well and beat them. And I thought our guys responded well, especially after Kyler went down in the first opening minutes of the game with an ankle problem. We didn't have him the rest of the game. And he's probably our best defender. I'm not so sure he's not the best point guard defender in all of the MIAA. So, we had a lot of adversity facing us on Thursday, and then Kyler going down. I thought our guys did a great job. Like I said, they're a great rebounding team. They lead the league in offensive rebounds, rebound margin. We held them to 5 offensive rebounds. We held them to not very many three-pointers. And like I said, we did everything we could from that side of the ball. We had to hit a 3 with 9 seconds to go to get to 53 points and send it to overtime. I mean, you can't play that poor of offense. And, I don't really feel like we played, we executed okay. We didn't have a ton of turnovers. I felt like we got some good looks. We just didn't make them, and we have to be able to make those, and we didn't. So it was disappointing, felt for our guys. I thought they laid it on the line to try to get that win, and if you get that win, everything looks good. You want to win both, but you win that game, you're like, hey, so far our 2 conference losses are at Central Missouri and at Washburn, probably 2 of the top 3 or 4 teams in the MIAA. I think you're feeling like you're doing some good things, but not pulling this one off, just disappointing. And it's crazy how you win a game in overtime, or you win by 1 point instead of lose by 1 point, how it changes not only the standings, but I mean more so just your mindset as the players and the coaching staff and just everything around. And nothing's really changed for the game. You just happen to barely win instead of barely lose. So hopefully, probably with our injuries to Peyton and Kyler, it's probably good that we have a week off. I thought it was kind of coming too early for us, that we were getting a week break, but probably what's kind of transcribed since then is probably a good thing to try to see if we can get those guys able to play, which I don't know. They're still going to be iffy for Saturday against Kearney, but there's maybe a possibility.
Well, and as you touched on it, you hold them to 4 threes, 4 of 19. They came into the week the number 1 3-point shooting team by percentage in the country. I think they average around 10, and to hold them and not easy. They got a lot of guys who can shoot the ball, but to do what you did was pretty remarkable on the defensive side.
Well, and they make it so hard for you with their constant motion and movement. I mean, like you face more screens in one possession against them than you do a lot of teams all game. Most of it is ball screen, so that allows 3 of your guys to kind of stand and watch. This is an offense that all 5 guys on the defensive end have to be paying attention, be moving. It's very taxing, and it takes a lot of energy to keep going and fighting through all that stuff. And our guys did a great job with that. We just were not good enough offensively to win the game.
All right, well, the Tigers, as the coach said, only have 1 game. It's coming up Saturday afternoon. They take on Nebraska Kearney. We'll talk about the Lopers when we return right here on Tiger Talk, the program brought to you by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro, 27th and Indian Trail, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, where they have their cook-to-order delicious steak burgers, Chicago-style hot dogs, piping hot shoestring fries. They're all family favorites. Burgers, and you'll be greeted with hospitality that's second to none. So whether you're dining in or visiting their drive-thru, be sure you leave room for Freddy's premium vanilla and chocolate frozen custard churned fresh throughout the day. It's Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine and Hayes, the taste that brings you back. Our final segment of Tiger Talk coming up right after this.
As you plan for your business in 2018, advertising should be an important part of your growth strategy. Digital marketing puts your business in front of the right customers online. Advertising with the Hayes Post ensures your message will be viewed 1.5 million times a month, including 375,000 unique views a week. Are you ready to grow your business? Advertise with us today. It's affordable and it works. Call us today at 785-628-0467. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
And welcome back. That was more of the action from Saturday. The big shot from Hadley Gillum, which forced the overtime at 53. Unfortunately, not enough in the extra period as Fort Hays State comes up short to Southwest Baptist. Welcome back in. It's our final segment here on Tiger Talk, brought to you by Mocha's Coffee Bakery and Bistro and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers. And you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. It was a rough week as far as injury goes. Peyton Stevens right before halftime Thursday lands on someone's foot, and he didn't play at all Saturday, and he was really limping around still in street clothes Saturday. And then Kyler only got 5 minutes of action before he rolled his ankle. You know, you look at numbers, maybe they don't put up huge offensive numbers, but obviously both key cogs for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Kyler, you know, like I said, he's, I feel like, the best defender in the league. From the point guard position, I think he was third in the league going in on the road trip in assists per game. He's really the one guy on our team that puts his head down somewhat and sets up other guys and gets other guys baskets. Feels like our offense just runs better when he's out there. And he was in conference play shooting it better. I think he was averaging 7.5 points a game before we started. So, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. You look at Kearney right now. I mean, Kearney had a really good year last year, third in the league. I think you remember the last week of the season they came down here and we didn't have an answer for them. They looked fantastic, and they have all those guys back this year. But they've had a lot of injuries. In basketball, you only have 5 guys. They got to do everything. Basketball is not really a next man up sport. You know, you can say that and you got to do that and you can't make excuses and you have to keep playing. But when you lose key contributors like Kearney has, you don't overcome that. You don't just keep winning. You know what I mean? And that's the thing with Kearney right now. You look at their record, it's a little bit deceiving because they're 2-4 in league, but they've had a lot of injuries to their backcourt. They're starting to get those guys back and start playing better. Hopefully we won't have Kyler and Peyton out too long, and hopefully they can come back quickly and help us. Because like I said, in basketball you have to have them. You have to have all your numbers if you're going to be as good as you want to be. And so hopefully they'll be back quickly.
Well, and you mentioned Kearney, and kind of to that point, they lose in overtime to Central Missouri. It was a good ball game and had every chance to win that. And we have seen when they're healthy and when they're playing, I go by the 101 points or something, that game you mentioned. I mean, and we've seen it year after year after year for whatever reason. They have the potential to light up the scoreboard.
They really do, and their guards, you know, they're starting 1 and they're starting 2 have been the 2 kids that have been injured a lot. And you know, let's face it, in today's basketball game, guards win games for you. I don't care what level you're playing at, whether it be the NBA, college, or high school. Good guards usually means you're going to have a good team, and they have very good guards. They have just been continually hobbled with injuries, and so we'll have to come out here and play well. If they're at full strength, they're one of the better teams in the league, even though I think their conference record right now is 2-4.
You have a week now to work on some stuff, and really the first time in a while, you had a little bit around Christmas, but you still had some games mixed in there. Shooting the ball, you've got some guys who can shoot it, but some who are struggling right now. It would really go a long way if they can even get close to where you think they're capable of.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple guys shooting pretty well, and then a couple guys that aren't, and you know, we need to be able to shoot the ball well. You know, we don't have, you know, tremendous playmakers in the backcourt. You know, we don't get to the rim off the bounce from the backcourt. You know, we don't necessarily, like I said, Kyler's our leading assist guy. We don't have a lot of other guys that drive it and create for others. So, you know, we have to play off our big guys, and that's Brady and Hadley, and try to get them to help off them, and that opens up shots for our guards. And yeah, they have to be able to step up and make those shots, and they're aware of that, and they put in a lot of effort to do that. It's you know, shooting is always that fine line of drawing attention to it and or making too much of it. So hopefully our guys just continue to work and we said Grant and Aaron, I think, have shot the ball well. We got a couple other guys, like you mentioned, that need to step up and be able to make their perimeter shots at a little bit higher level.
And you mentioned Grant. He had a really good game on Saturday. Hopefully something that can continue. Gave you a nice shot on the arm offensively.
Yeah, Grant can do that at times. He comes in and can shoot the ball. Kind of has a knack to be around the rim. He doesn't look like he's a big, strong guy, but he plays a little bit more physically, offensively than he looks, and kind of bumps some guys off of him and kind of makes some, uncanny kind of shots a little bit around the rim.
Well, hopefully he can continue that, and the team can continue to get better. And good week here to try and get better for a 3-game homestand. Very important stretch now that you're back at home for 3. A chance to make up a little ground with all those road games.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big week. This Kearney game's for us next week with Missouri Western is vital. I feel like these next 2 games are 2 of the bigger games we're going to play all year. We need to find a way to have success here over the next 2 games for
All
sure.
right, sounds good. We'll have a great week of practice. We'll see you at the Coliseum on Saturday.
All right, thank you, Gerard.
That's head coach Mark Johnson of the Fort Hays State Tigers. And again, a reminder, that's the only games this week. On Saturday afternoon, the men and women against the Lopers of Nebraska Kearney, 2 o'clock for the women and 4 o'clock for the men at Gross Coliseum. Of course, you can hear it right here on Tiger Radio Mix 103, 135 with the Auto World pregame show. Hey, we hope you enjoyed the program tonight. If you missed any portion of it, you can always catch it online at hayspokes.com. And of course, the video replay, Eagle Cable Channel 14 and 614, 3 times a day on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. The program brought to you once again by the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, the Taco Shop, G&L Tire and Automotive, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Adams Brown, Barron and Ball, BTI, Horizon Appliance and Electronics, and of course by Mocha's Coffee, Bakery and Bistro, 27th and Indian Trail, and Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers, North Vine and Hayes, the taste that brings you back. For women's coach Tony Hobson, men's coach Mark Johnson, this is Gerard Wellbrock. So long, everyone.